Okay, this guy is in charge, literally and figuratively. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Burness from National Car Charging. Let's give him a big Denver round of applause. Excellent.
I'm Jim Burness, CEO and founder of National Car Charging. We're a distributor of 6 different carefully chosen manufacturers of charging equipment. And while we've done projects in 41 states, Denver is our home. So let me personally say, welcome to Colorado. Thank you for being here. And this is a place where jeans and hiking boots can constitute legitimate business attire. But I'm not here to talk about fashion. If you leave this room remembering one thing, is that electric vehicles are here, they're growing fast, and they're the future of transportation. Last year, from 2017 to 2018, they grew 81% year over year. And that means right now there are over 1.1 million cars on US roads. That translates to a plug-in vehicle being sold every 90 seconds. So from the time I started talking to now, one more plug-in vehicle was sold in America. And some states like California, over 10% of all new vehicles sold have a plug today. And a lot of markets are catching up very quickly. EVs are often incorrectly cast as toys for the rich. And Tesla made a big splash when it hit the market. But the best-selling car in its segment is the Model 3, which is just over the median new car price today. There are 50 different models on the market from every single automaker. And with any new technology, there's going to be some new entrants. Take a look at this piece here, the car, not me.
Watch it.
8 seats, 12,000-pound towing capacity, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, and a 400-mile range. So if somebody tells you that EVs are golf carts, you know better. And the US is actually a little bit behind. In some parts of the world, like Norway, 60% of all new cars sold have a plug on it, and the manufacturers that don't have electric vehicles are losing market share quickly. And in lots of markets and from lots of automakers in the world, they're saying no more gas cars are going to be sold in 15 to 20 years from now. So why is adoption growing so quickly? It's pretty obvious. Despite a massive misinformation campaign, electric vehicles are better for the planet. And that's the #1 reason why people buy them. But it's not the only reason. They're actually really fun to drive. And once you get in one, and you own one, you don't ever want to go back to gasoline. But there also get benefits like getting into the carpool lane. I parked at the convention center for free today. And that leads me to economics, which is another really big driver. This car here costs less than the average new car in America. The fuel costs are very low. Maintenance is virtually nothing. And when you combine that with a reasonable cost to buy, very reasonable cost to run, and virtually no maintenance, that means people have more money to spend on rent. And I thought that might pick you guys up. Well, let's talk about what that means in greater detail about multifamily. The trends are that right now, 37%, or 43.3 million households, are now renters. That's the highest since 1965. And the biggest share of that are millennials. It'll come as no surprise to you that millennials spend their money very differently. They care about the planet. Sustainability is very important to them. And in fact, 30% of all Americans now consider climate change in whether they're going to have kids or not. So this is one way to really help that market embrace your property. Let's talk a little bit more about how this applies to multifamily specifically. Multifamily Executive Magazine did a study not long ago and found that 15% of all renters intend to buy an electric vehicle in the next few years. That's over 6.5 million prospective tenants. But the big question is, where are they going to charge? Right now, there's only one charging spot, a public charging spot, for every 20 cars. And we know that 80% of all charging happens at home. So that means that if you don't have a place for them to charge, you're telling them, go somewhere else. One of my clients has a couple large properties in Los Angeles. And they got really sick and tired of people coming in on the weekend to the leasing center and saying, do you have a place to charge? No? Goodbye. They couldn't afford to do that any longer. So they put in charging, and it filled up almost immediately. But remember those 6.5 million I was talking about a moment ago? One thing that I can happily tell you is that 58% of them are happy to pay more for the ability to charge at home. And so if you choose your equipment correctly, you can certainly recover the cost of your investment. So by installing EV charging, you're going to get more loyal residents. It's a huge differentiator today, but it's going to be an even bigger differentiator tomorrow if you don't have it. And it sends a very positive message to the entire community, even the people that don't yet own an electric vehicle. And again, you can recover your costs if you choose the right equipment. Looking a little bit further into the future, having charging at your property means that you've opened yourself up to new modes of transportation, whether it's car share services or autonomous vehicles. And I'll tell you, not one expert in the field thinks that there's going to be a gas-powered autonomous vehicle on the market. But the time to act is now. Thanks to these guys and Dieselgate, there literally are millions of dollars in incentives out there that you can take advantage of. So if you're going to have to do it sooner or later, why not have somebody else help pay for it, right? And speaking of planning, let's talk a little bit about new construction for a second. If you're building a new property, I have a couple of recommendations for you. First of all, please put the electric room close to the parking area. Number two, oversize that electric room by a lot more than you think. And number three, put in a lot of conduit. If you're not putting conduit to 10% of your parking spaces today, you're going to be kicking yourself tomorrow. So let me ask you 3 questions to leave. 1, are you ready to turn away customers and renters today that are looking for a place to live where they can charge their vehicle? 2, are you willing to give up free money to do it later rather than doing it sooner? And 3, are you building it into every new construction project you have? Thanks again, and welcome to Denver.
Awesome. Great job, man.